Hi guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. So it is officially October 1st, so we are well into spooky season. And the reason why I haven't been posting videos as regularly as I normally do is because I've been trying to save all of the stories that I find from like Reddit and you guys for 31 days of Halloween. So if you guys don't know what that is where creators on YouTube, Instagram, just social media in general, post for 31 days straight. So I am going to try my best to post every single day if I can find scary stories for you guys to read. So this is the time where if you guys have any stories that you want to share with me, they could be scary stories, let's not meet stories, creepy stories, paranormal stories, whatever stories you guys want to share with me on the channel, send my way. That way I can create 31 days of Halloween for you guys. So please send me your stories because I am having a hard time reaching out to people on Reddit. Sometimes they respond right away, but sometimes it takes like a couple days and sometimes it even takes weeks for authors to get back to me, and I can't read stories without people's permission. The best thing that you guys can do is send me your guys' creepy stories because then I have permission automatically. As per usual, I have my wicked candle in here making the whole room smell like caramel apple. I have nothing more to ramble about other than 31 days of Halloween is starting, and I'm hoping that I can actually do it this year because last year I tried my best, but I really couldn't do it. I moved in the middle of October and it was just way too much like going on. So I'm going to pull up all of the stories that I have saved and I'm super excited. So I think in this video, I'm going to be reading mostly Reddit stories. So if you guys have sent me any on Instagram or email, I will get to those definitely in October, but feel free to send me more of your guys' stories because then I have permission right away. And it is so much better than having to go through Reddit and try to find stories that I think you guys will like and then also ask permission. Speaking of Reddit, this one is from the True Scary Story section. It is from the Reddit author Runner20 miles per hour, and it's titled My Gin Shadow. A few decades ago, when my mother was in her 20s and single, she and her friends used a Ouija board. They jokingly asked whatever spirit to raise a glass full of water. The glass levitated in the air. They freaked out and they stopped playing. This small encounter may not seem too significant, but I believe it has resulted in me being haunted for most of my life until recently. There are far too many testimonials for a few pages to do justice. Some encounters have been so sickening that no one outside would believe me, and some encounters have actually saved me from dangerous life situations. In a way, I've become so used to having a shadow watch me that I can't imagine a normal life without it. It's like I'm bound to it, whether I like it or not. When my mother was pregnant with me during the last trimester, she woke up to someone strangling her. She screamed, thinking it was my dad. The arms were hairy, but it wasn't. My dad rushed upstairs to see my mother's body being levitated and slammed repeatedly onto the bed. It immediately stopped when he got in there. They didn't know what to do, so they called the police and an ambulance. The police wanted to arrest my father. The doctors and nurses spoke to my mother in confidence, explaining that she was safe with them. There were clear strangulation marks around her neck, so they were convinced it was domestic dispute. They let them go, but frequently checked up randomly until they felt it was okay. After I was born, I was lost a few times. I distinctly remember my mother taking me to a store and then abruptly taking me outside a store all the way to the train tracks. I distinctly remember holding my mother's hand only to see my mother screaming and running towards me with people screaming behind her. I still felt a hand holding mine, but it wasn't my mother. There was nothing there. This type of experience happened several times during my childhood, so much that my parents were investigated for child neglect. The truth is, they never knew what was happening because they were haunted by these spirits. Growing up was very difficult because I could not confine these experiences with my friends. While they were obsessing about movies and girls, I was worried about when I would have my next encounter. Now, the thing about these encounters was that they were not ghostly. My experience were with things that resembled real people, that spoke and everything. You could not tell the difference. The scare would often only come weeks later when I realized the person wasn't actually there. To be continued. It gets worse. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your stories. I'm definitely going to check back to see if you have any updates in the future, but those are crazy. I would love to hear more of your stories because those sound absolutely insane, and it sounds like you have had a lot of experiences, and that is so terrifying, and I'm so sorry you've been having to deal with that your entire life, ever since your mom was literally pregnant with you. That's absolutely so sad. The next one that I want to read is from the no sleep section. So this one is a fictional story. So I like to give you guys just some context at the beginning of these stories because some of them are true and some of them are fiction. And I believe this one is fiction. So this one is from the no sleep section. It's from the Reddit author objective_nerve 4814 and it's titled The Shadowed Staircase. My wife and I have always dreamt of owning an old, charming house in the countryside. Our dream finally came true when we found a beautiful, century-old Victorian mansion nestled on a secluded hillside. It was everything we'd ever wanted, picturesque, timeless, and surrounded by woods. As we moved in, the real estate agent had warned us about the mansion's history, which only added to its allure. The house had been empty for decades, shrouded in rumors of a curse that kept potential buyers away. But we weren't superstitious, and we were in love with the place, and we couldn't resist making it our home. One evening, as my wife and I explored our new house, we stumbled upon a hidden staircase behind a dusty, forgotten bookshelf in the library. The staircase led to an underground room that was like something out of a Gothic novel. Dimly lit, with stone walls and antique furniture covered in dusty white sheets. It was eerie, but captivating. Curiosity got the better of us, and we decided to investigate. The room was filled with old books, strange artifacts, and dusty trinkets. The most peculiar find was an ornate antique mirror that seemed to beckon us. As we gazed into it, our reflections blurred, and we felt a strange sensation of being transported into another place, if only for a moment. Over the next few weeks, odd things started happening. We heard faint whispers in the dark, saw fleeting shadows out of the corners of our eyes, and we experienced inexplicable drops in temperature. She became restless and unable to sleep through the night, and her once vibrant demeanor was fading. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard her whisper to someone, and I couldn't make out her words, but her voice was frantic and terrified. When I turned on the light, she was alone, wide-eyed and trembling. She claimed she had seen a shadow figure at the foot of our bed, staring at her with hollow eyes. The next few nights were a nightmare. The whispers grew louder, and the shadows more sinister. Her condition deteriorated, and I began to see the figure too. It lurked in the corner of our vision, always out of reach. The antique mirror seemed to hold the key to whatever malevolent force had invaded our home. Desperate, I researched the history of the house and discovered a dark secret. Decades ago, a family had lived here, and a young girl had mysteriously disappeared. The locals whispered that she had been taken by something from another world, a shadow entity that lurked in the depths of the house. With no other option, I decided to confront the entity. Armed with knowledge and resolve, I descended the hidden staircase with the antique mirror in hand. The room below was colder than ever, and the shadows seemed to wither in anticipation. I stared into the mirror and saw the dark figure looming behind me. It reached out, and I felt a searing pain as it tried to pull me to it. I fought back with all my strength, invoking the girl's name from the house. The figure recoiled, and I shattered the mirror. A burst of light consumed the room, and the shadow vanished. Gasping for breath, I ascended the stairs, leaving the cursed room behind. With the curse broken, my wife and I started to rebuild our lives. The house no longer felt haunted, and the whispers and shadows were gone. We decided to seal the hidden staircase, never to be opened again. But even now, we sometimes catch glimpses of Emily, the girl who had been trapped there for so long. She appears at peace, her spirit finally free, and we often wonder if it was her presence that had helped us banish the malevolent entity. Our dream home still stands, now filled with warmth and love. And though the mansion holds its secrets, we've learned that sometimes facing the darkness is the only way to find the light. And that's how they ended the story. So that one was obviously a fictional story, but it was just very well written, and I really liked the ending. The ending was really powerful, and it was actually like a very happy ending. So thank you so much for allowing me to read that. That one was so good, and I really enjoyed that one. The next one that I'm going to read is from the True Scary Story section. And it is from the Reddit author just-map-5563, and it's titled, One of My Haunted Experiences at My Childhood Farm. I grew up in an old farm built in the late 40s. The farm wasn't extremely old, since it got torn down and turned into a suburb neighborhood in 2015. However, my experiences there varied from getting chased by cows to being chased by Addie. There was a small, old abandoned homestead about 100 yards from my house, and that's where Addie lived. She died in that house before the farm was built, and there wasn't much known about her. A few times a week, my friends, who lived on a farm neighboring me, my brother and I would go to Addie's house and explore. There was one particular experience that makes my bones shiver when I remember it. It was the evening and the sun was about to set while we were in Addie's house. There were birds and crickets chirping outside, and we could hear the creaks as the cold breeze brushed against the house. Suddenly, it went quiet. We couldn't hear the animals chirping anymore, and it was as if the wind got louder and harder, so we decided to head back home. As we headed out the front door, we heard footsteps on the second floor. My friend, being smart, decided to sprint towards our house, but the rest of us stayed put in shock. And all at once, we heard those footsteps stomping swiftly down the stairs, and we ran. We ran inside our house and locked the door behind us. The stairs inside that old abandoned house were open and had no back, so you could see people coming up and down them from the front door. I never spoke about this because I didn't want to scare anyone, but as we heard those footsteps coming down the stairs that day, I could see the silhouette of bare feet and ankles running through the cracks of the steps. So they actually caught a glimpse of a ghost. That's actually really crazy. Oh my God, that's so scary. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your story. That one was more of just like an experience that they're remembering, but super scary, and I would definitely have ran too. The next one that I'm gonna read is actually a post that I have saved. So this one might be a little bit harder to read because I have it like saved on my phone, but this is gonna be the last story because I want to try to get as many stories in a video as possible, but I also wanna save some of them for future videos. So I think these videos are probably gonna be about the 15-minute mark. I hope that is okay with you guys. The next one is from the Reddit author Independent-Line 4846, and it's titled, Spooked in My Apartment, or Am I Crazy? Hey guys, I need to get this off my chest because it's honestly been freaking me out lately. It started a few weeks ago, little noises in my apartment, the kind that might just be a building settling or whatever. But then the noise started to get a little more distinct, like I could hear someone whispering, but there was never anyone there when I checked. I even called the landlord to check if the walls were thin. But no, everything was up to code. At first, it was just whispers and the occasional tapping sound at night. Then things got a step weirder. I woke up one morning to find all my cabinet doors wide open, and I live alone. And I sure as hell didn't leave them like that before going to bed. My heart pounded in my chest like a relentless drum as I hurriedly shut them, half expecting something to leap out at me, but there was nothing. I've always been a skeptic. I'm not the type to jump to conclusions, but things just keep escalating. Just a few days ago, I was sitting on my couch and suddenly the room went freezing cold. I mean, middle of winter cold, but it's September. I rushed to check the windows. Maybe I had left one open, but they were all shut. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and I had this deep, unshakable feeling that something was very wrong. My sleep started to suffer too. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to see shadows darting across the walls. Sometimes I felt like someone was watching me, my every move being scrutinized by unseen eyes. I even found strange, unexplainable marks on my skin, like light scratches and bruises that appear overnight. My friends told me it might be stress or sleepwalking, but deep down, I know it's something else. But guys, things took a bizarre turn this morning. I was making breakfast, still feeling the eerie vibe from last night, when suddenly the spirits revealed themselves, and you won't believe it. They were just a group of invisible clowns. They started juggling my eggs and tossing my bacon strips like a frisbee with loud honking noises echoing through the kitchen. One of them even wore my curtains like a cape, flying around with exaggerated flamboyant movements. I couldn't help but burst into laughter, my fear dissipating as the spectral circus put on a goofy slapstick show just for me. I mean, haunted by clown spirits? Who would have thought? Guess I've got myself some new, albeit unconventional roommates now. And that's how they ended the post. So that one was in like a paranormal section. So I don't actually know if that one is like a fictional story or a true story. This one is saved on my phone. So I'm not sure if it was removed by one of the mods or something, because it might have been in like the paranormal section and it probably was meant to be more in the no sleep section. But I thought that story was kind of fun. It was really, really creepy up until the clown part. And then it kind of took on like a silly kind of fun twist. And obviously that's a fictional story because you're not gonna see clown spirits in your house. And if you do, that's fucking terrifying. I would not react with like humor towards that because I hate clowns. I was at a restaurant last night and there was like entertainment for like kids and stuff there. And there was these fucking terrifying clowns walking around, and I swear to God, I almost left. I was like, I hate this. I don't wanna be out on a date with my boyfriend at a restaurant and there's fucking clowns walking by. I hate that. And they weren't even like fun clowns. They were terrifying. Like, I know it's October and I know it's supposed to be like spooky season, but this wasn't like a spooky restaurant. We were at like a buffet. There's no reason why clowns should have been walking around. I fucking hate clowns. I hate them so much. If I saw a creepy ass clown at night, I would definitely throw hands. Like, come at me. I hate clowns so much. Oh my God. But thank you so much for allowing me to read your story. I know that story was kind of more fun than it was scary, but I still thought it was really cute and really fun. So thank you so much for allowing me to read your stories. Thank you to all the authors that allowed me to read their stories. I do appreciate it, and I love reading scary stories. So if you guys have any stories that you want to share with me, feel free to message me on Instagram or feel free to email me. If you guys have any stories in general, just creepy stories, let's not meet stories, scary stories, paranormal stories, ghost stories, or even if you guys have found like really creepy TikToks, I will do a reaction video to creepy TikToks if you guys are interested in that. Feel free to DM me all of your creepy TikToks or reels or whatever, just creepy shit in general, and I'll definitely make a video for you guys. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys made it to the end of this video, please give me your favorite Halloween emoji because we are in spooky season, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.